Okay,
Okay.
boards and committees, we are moving right along with the process, and what you have are two documents. One is a guide, it's an outline, and the dates will probably change because applications are still coming in. We don't know how many you're going to get and how much work you're going to have to do to fill that, but you've got right now 8 boards and committees, 4 of which are statutory. You've got to have them. And the modifications to those 4 statutory boards being the Planning Board, ABC Board, Board of Adjustment, and Historic Preservation, we're really not going to modify those much at all because we can't. So my recommendation was go ahead, maybe at the next meeting or at a workshop or sometime soon, to go ahead and make those appointments. Go ahead and get those done and checked off the list. The next one is the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. That one is a very recent board. I think you formed it 8 months ago, within the last year. The only thing you're doing with that one is expanding the role to include the cultural aspect, the arts. So we can make that modification and probably go ahead and make those appointments too.
So will they then be overseeing the art policy and comprising the art jury?
Yes, because
Or appointing the art jury?
good point, because currently the art jury is appointed by beautification, and beautification is going to be included in these other boards and committees, so it will not be there to appoint an arts jury, so that has to fall under a different role. But that one could, since the changes are so minor, you could do that one at the next opportunity. And then the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee, they're already, that's your last board that you really could change, but they're in the middle of their role, and that one will expire when they make a recommendation on the comprehensive plan. So you don't need to do anything with that one. And then with the, I guess, consolidation and reorganization, I've worked with Steve a lot on these, and we're coming up with a game plan, but we're going to have new bylaws and new rules with those. So we were thinking at the earliest, and to shoot for a target date of August 25th. And with that, you're going to have the Organization Advisory Committee, Economic Vitality Committee, Design and Appearance Committee, and the Promotions Committee, along with the rules, which will further set forth their responsibilities that y'all set a pretty good guideline in the policy that y'all adopted in the second meeting in June. So that will be the basis of the bylaws. You'll still be looking at all these people to appoint, but you would do a resolution to create each of those committees and then make the appointments. And one thing you want to be careful with those appointments is you've got to stagger all the terms, because these are going to be new boards. So you want to make sure that you have some people in a 1-year, 2-year, and 3-year terms. The one thing that you can do tonight would be the resolution, and because I think it would be good to go ahead and establish what rules you're going to have for these appointments, because they're going to be applicable to all the boards. So you can go ahead and adopt that tonight before you make any decisions on this. So each of the applicants knows the rules, and you know the rules before any adoptions. And I believe Steve is going to go through the resolution, because he not only worked on the resolution, he worked on all of this a lot. So I was going to kind of divide up time. He's going to present that.
Okay, so in the reorganization, consolidation and reorganization portion, we're talking about consolidating the roles and duties of the existing small town Main Street committees. Now, how does that affect our participation with the Main Street program?
Not at all.
Okay, I mean, because I had...
We've aligned it, and we've specifically laid out in the bylaws the time element that conforms, that allows us to conform to their rules and regulations.
Okay.
And then we'll walk and learn, and then scale it.
Because I had thought that the structure of those committees was needed to be, anyone who shows up
Nope.
Not correct on that?
You are not correct on that.
Okay.
We can designate we designate a committee. Anybody can come, they're open meetings.
Right.
But to participate, they are committees that are nominated and approved by,
Rather than ad hoc?
right, that ad hoc now.
Okay. All right, I just wanted to be sure, because
Yep.
that had been my previous understanding of the requirement for the Main Street committees.
Previously, we didn't have it under the board control, and so that it was ad hoc. That's
Right.
part of,
Is ad hoc by design, by statutory design to
No.
participate in that program? Okay.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my only concern.
So, while Chaplin likes to keep all of his doors open and says maybe around this date and all that stuff, in all honesty, I think for the sake of the town and for execution, I think this schedule works and works well. The plan of right now is sometime at the end of day on Friday, Melody and I are going to sit down and kind of package all this up and figure out how we can put together a packet for the board. I will reach out to you to set up get some thoughts as to how we want to approach a work session, because as I'm looking at the list right now, there was an article that went out today. From that article, I got 4 phone calls. Hey, I'm interested in the board, which is good. Right now, we're sitting at 35 people that have applied. Those 4 would, maybe some more. We might get up to 40. That's not something that we can just go through with the consent agenda. We really need to give it some time. The difficult one's going to be the planning board. Right now, the planning board's sitting at 12 applicants.
Good.
The good news here is that on the planning board, 3 of the people suggested a second committee that they might be interested in, and so we may be able to mix and match. We may have some recruitment to do for the Main Street, but going to have to sit down with Kurt and the current chairs to just see where they are now and just walk through that. We'll have that answer by Friday as well. So I don't see any reason why we can't make these dates at this point in time, but we'll ebb and flow it over the course of the next week. But the faster we move on this so the boards can start working and developing their work plans that we support, I think the better synergy we'll get with all the loose parts that Warren alluded to today. We got to get a lot of this stuff working together. So with that, we have a resolution in front of us. And before I make a motion to approve the resolution, there is one thing that we have to correct in here, Chaplain. John reminded me that item 5, the stipend, the ABC board already has an existing stipend that is more than the 25. So I think you said it's 50 and 100, John, depending upon
Number of meetings?
Chair versus committee members.
Oh, okay. Do you think that over time that the different boards and committees will, have different stipends and different levels of work and stuff? Would it be better to reference a table or something? That in the table could spell out ABC board this, beautification.
Mike?
This is a baseline starting point.
Right.
It was built and designed, as we've always said, to be scalable, but we have to start somewhere. And we
Right.
felt that this was the best place to start to help compensate the people who come and spend their gas to drive here and their paper and communications. I know it's not a lot of money, but currently most people aren't receiving any type of compensation whatsoever.
Right.
So we felt 25, since that was kind of the rate for the planning board, that was a fair statement. But as it scales, I believe that organically those numbers would appear.
Okay.
And then try to create something that we don't really know what the answer would be. That's just my opinion.
Right.
I was just thinking how to incorporate it into the document so that it's, that part of it can be flexible.
That's, I guess that's, this can be amended.
Yeah, the thought process, as we discussed at the June meeting, was we'll start here, and then a year from now,
Right.
we'll reevaluate,
And see
make
what's-
changes.
yeah.
And then 2 years from now, we'll make additional changes. But it's kind of the walk and learn.
Right. John?
Also, I wanted to point out, the ABC board stipends do not come from the town. They're under North Carolina general statutes, and they follow under that course. So the funds are not provided by the town to cover the stipends, any of that. It's a separate,
So we don't have
So
to
we make
change
sure we don't give them $25.
on top of,
So we need to,
All right.
we need to say excluding,
So unless otherwise
that's a good
dictated
point.
by
Thank you.
statute or something like that?
Yeah, you can actually pay them more, and if they get above a certain amount, it's like 100 or 250.
$50, correct.
50, then you have to report it to the state ABC Commission to get permission.
Correct.
I didn't realize they were already paid, and we may have started to do that. We can accept the ABC board out, and you could approve it with those modifications.
the other piece is, I did hear, and Terry and I have been talking about, item 2 and item 3. And Mike and I, in working this, in our discussion in June, and then at the meeting, and then talking with Warren, again, this is one of those scalable things. We're really trying to make sure that people focus on a board the first year and really get the focus and attention on
Okay.
changing the way we operate, putting the focus on that one board. And then if we determine that we get better synergy by cross-pollinating and putting people on multiple boards, that's something to evaluate at the end of the first year. But the whole idea was to really get the focus on one board and a work plan, the work plan that the board is working actively, the Board of Commissioners, Town Board is working actively with the board. Mike?
Yeah, and just to piggyback on what you're saying, it's like, once everything's consolidated and everyone has a work plan, those work plans flow to a specific commissioner. Now the communication started, which had been alluded to many times. So once the communication starts, I foresee possibly sooner than a year that we would probably start making adjustments and modifying as we go. But to do a real cursory or exploratory,
I think by the third hour, you were into that when we were working that one day. You were starting to add, never mind, I'm just kidding.
I know, I'm sorry. I get carried away sometimes.
That's good. I did want to, on number 4, I know that sometimes the chairperson of a committee is really the best choice. Can we put something in there that says, they must rotate off unless the appointment is unanimous, or, by unanimous vote of the committee, or something like that, to allow for those, for those occasions when the person who is currently serving as chair is really either the only willing option, or the best option in the group.
Well, the correct answer to that is we can do what we want, but we actually consciously went out and as we were talking with several of the board members, I got more, please don't put that back in,
Oh, okay.
than I got,
Okay.
keep it on.
Okay.
And again, that's something that will evolve. It's not to say that as you rotate off as a chair that you can't be an active member on a board or committee. In fact, that's kind of what,
Sure.
Or even
What-
chair a different one.
or chair a different one, yeah. That's kind of what we're trying to establish in terms of, let's start moving around and share, to your point, where's that intellectual property floating around, where, you know, the institutional knowledge. We need to make sure that it rotates around, and we're really making all the committees more successful. So that's kind of where that landed.
Okay.
But it was discussed.
And two, some of that decision, and for me, was determined based on the fact that we're sitting at 15,000 people now. Just through simple math, say we end up with 40 applicants over the course of time, population is going to increase. Hopefully, the applicant flow and pool will increase as well. And, well, again, we'll see.
Okay.
And also keep in mind that promotions committee has as a duty responsibility to continuous recruiting as well. I mean, that was one of the things written into their work plan, that they are continuously recruiting candidates for boards, committees, and other volunteer
Right.
activities. So,
Right. I'd like to say
It was deliberate.
that was a great article in the Charlotte Observer today, or the one that came across our email, if anybody hasn't read it. I thought it was a great article. It highlighted Lisa, which has done a great job along with other people, Wendy, Melody, other folks, Warren. I mean, I couldn't name them all, but staff has done a tremendous job supporting this and coming up with a marketing campaign, kind of a grassroots, how do we get to the people, and so far it has, in my mind, has yielded, it's been a very, very good success. So I'd say thank you to you guys. And girls. You know what I mean?
any other questions?
And Steve. Sorry.
Okay, so,
Other questions?
any other questions for Steve or Chaplain or Mike?
So with that, and with
Have a
the-
motion.
with the suggested changed item 5, Chaplain, that you mentioned about the ABC Board, I would make a motion that we pass the resolution, make a motion to approve the resolution establishing the qualifications and rules for town boards and committees for the town of Waxhaw, North Carolina.
Okey dokey, we have a motion. Any discussion on the motion? Commissioner Hunt?
Just waiting. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Jump the gun.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion is unanimous. Okay, so that, unless we want to go back into closed session, that will conclude our business for the evening. Do you want to go ahead and do our last item in closed session, or do you want to save that for next time?
Save it for next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, all right. Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good work tonight, gentlemen. I think we deflected some of the animosity very handily.
You clearing the lane
That made it actually come out really well. Yeah, well, because essentially we told the applicant